Okay, right. Let's start off with the session. So coming back, um, okay. So far in our revision session, we have looked at ethics. We looked into ethics. We looked into audit risk. We looked at some substantive procedures. We looked at materiality and adjustments to financial statements. So we looked at materiality and adjustments to financial statements. So these are the areas we looked into detail. Today we are moving into another important area, right? Another important area, which is controls, internal controls. So internal controls is a major area in your syllabus. Actually, it's a major area. Probably it can be tested for about 15 to 20 marks in the exam. You can be tested with internal controls. So basically what I'm going to do is when you take internal controls, like I explained you last week, right? There are some systems that can be tested. We discussed about a sales system, a purchaser system, non-current asset system, a payroll system, cash system, an inventory system. So all those can be tested like how we discussed last week. Today, in terms of internal controls, I'm going to talk to you about a payroll system. And we are also going to work on a payroll system and how that can be tested in the exam. Okay. Now, probably when you take a payroll system, right now, companies, you take companies. Obviously, companies have employees, but employees can either be full-time or part-time. You understand? You have employees full-time or part-time. So we've got full-time employees who are going to be a part of the company throughout. Part-time employees who will join whenever work is required. Okay. So the benefits that can go to full-time and part-time employees can be different. It may not be the same. Okay, so now for them, when you're talking about employees will be paid, number one, a salary. You're going to pay them a salary. Number two, you will maybe pay bonuses. You're going to pay bonuses. You pay a salary, you pay bonus, some allowance, perks, whatever you want to pay. Now all this needs to be captured in a system. Everything, all of this needs to be captured in a system. To capture in the system, that's where we need a payroll system. That's where a payroll system comes into play. So a company needs to have a payroll system. Now guys, payroll obviously is an expenditure, as you know, and because it is an expenditure, probably you have to be very careful as to how you have to have this control, a system. If there is a gap, a problem in the system, probably that can have a major impact on your expenditure. Are we clear? Tamnila, Inchifa, Afzal, Abdullah? Are we clear? Okay. Now, in the exam, your examiner sometimes will directly tell you, I want to know the objectives of a payroll system, objectives of a sales system, objectives of a purchase system. Meaning, what do I mean by objective is, why do you need a system? What are the objectives of having a system? Now, if it's a sales system, you need to have the system to make sure you sell goods to only valid customers. You don't sell goods to people you do not know, probably, who do not have proper credit worthiness. So you need to have a system entirely designed which will define the purpose of our objectives. Now that's where our objectives are defined. This is going to be our objectives of having a system. That's where number one, we are going to look into a payroll system. A payroll system, the objective, one of the immediate objective is to pay the right salary. Now we have to pay the right salary to the employees for the work done. Not anything more, not anything less. We are going to pay the exact amount which we have to pay. Now, if I'm lecturing here, for me, if they are going to pay me on a contractual hourly basis, I have to get paid on my output on the amount of hours that I lecture. So that is the right amount of salary that I will expect. Not anything low, not anything higher. To ensure employees have the skill to perform the work. I mean, I'm teaching audit, but probably, if I have a wrong person teaching audit, for example, I have maybe a person who doesn't have experience teaching audit, maybe sorry, not Lahiru has audit experience. Probably he taught first time. But maybe, okay, someone like Ramli comes in and he teaches. Ramli comes in and he teaches. And what will happen there? You're bringing in the wrong person to teach a subject. Then there is a problem. You understand? So you should never bring in the wrong person to do a job. So you got to make sure that you have the person who has the skill to perform the work. Are we clear? Number 3, monitor overtime and employees are paid for actual number of overtime hours worked. You got to make sure you monitor overtime. Okay, a system where, okay, 8 hours, more than 8 hours only you give overtime. So overtime is captured properly. Overtime has to be authorized by someone. Overtime, people don't just go and work overtime and claim for money. No, it doesn't work like that. There has to be a system where when you work overtime, there is a pre-approval given. So you need to keep in mind that is also there. And employees are actually paid for the number of overtime hours worked, and not for the overtime hours stayed. Now, basically, there are times where, our lecturers probably come and, stay here. Or our employees are just staying here, but they're not working, they're not teaching, or they're not working. For that, we don't have to pay just because they stay. So basically, what needs to happen is, when someone is actually working, you have to calculate the actual pay and make the payment. So the system has to be structured like that. Ensure persons with the right quality and skills. You need to have good people and skills. People skills is one of the most important things that we need to have. Ensure net pay is calculated accurately. Net pay means what? Take your gross pay, your insurance, or your contributions, EPF, ETF. After that, you have your net pay. That calculation is also there. So your payroll system should be able to do that properly. Ensure statutory remittance are done on time. Your EPF, your ETF, all those are statutory deductions, your pensions and everything. Probably you need to make sure that you have a system where this payroll system identifies it and makes the payment properly on time. Are we clear? Are we clear? Okay. To achieve these objectives, to get to these objectives, we need to have controls. To achieve these objectives, we need to have controls. Now, guys, these controls are there now. These controls are implemented by the management. Now, controls are being put by the management now, guys. Now, these controls have to be strong. Stronger the controls, high probability that the objectives will be met. If the controls are weak, that means there is a big probability that the objectives will not be met. So everything revolves around the controls, how strong your controls are. Are we clear? Are we clear? Yes or no? Okay. Now, guys, these controls, whatever we are going to implement, will change from one company to another. When you take PPIM, our controls are different from maybe a bank to Keels to Food City. So controls International Student Skills and Food City is a supermarket chain in Sri Lanka. Okay, hospitals. The other day I was talking about. I took an example. For example, I spoke about Dumbro. And international students like Dumbro. What is that? Yeah, obviously you do not know. So it's a furniture-based shop in Sri Lanka. So I got some messages from my YouTube videos. Dumbro, you're talking about it. So you did not say what that word means. Is it something in the audit book? I have to go and check. No, Dumbro is a furniture shop in Sri Lanka. So please, I'm sorry about the misconception. So when you're talking about hospitals or skills and food cities are supermarkets. So each and every company will have different set of controls. Yeah. So management should be able to identify where the need of the control is required and fill those gaps. But how will this be tested in the exam? In the exam, a scenario will be given. A scenario will be given. As an auditor, you will have to go and check if the controls are weak or strong. You are going to check if the controls are weak or strong, and then probably give some recommendation in the exam. That's how it is going to be tested. But now you can come and ask me, okay Ziyan, testing the controls of a company, is it our responsibility? Because controls are not our responsibility. Technically, when you take controls, why does it repeat? When you take controls, can I delete this? Because controls are not our responsibility. Okay, controls are management's responsibility. But controls are management's responsibility, no. So let's accept that. That is number one. These controls are being put up by the management. But when we are going to audit, payroll is there, no? Payroll expense is there, no? That is auditor's responsibility to see the expenses is accurate or not. You understand? To see if it is complete or not. Now what happens, because we have to go and check the values, if it's correct or not, we have to go and check the process also. Okay, the objective of testing the process, this process is not to give a comment on the process. No, I'm not going to give a comment on this process. The process is weak or not. No, I'm not going to give that. But because I have to comment on the values in the financial statements, I have to go and check this system now. Because I'm checking this system, I will give a management letter or letter of weaknesses. A letter of weaknesses will address the weaknesses that I identified during my audit processes with the company. So, is my responsibility to go and check the controls of a company? No, absolutely no. But as a result of this controls, you are going to test the transactions. No, that is my responsibility. The values are my responsibility. Yes, to give an opinion on the values. But because I'm doing it indirectly, I'm going to write a letter to the management. Look, I see there are some weaknesses. Now, for example, let's think about a control weakness. Okay. Okay. Basically, when you take me being a part of the management of PPIM, I'm a part of PPIM management. Most of the time, I'm not in the country. We've got about 35-40 people working for us. Okay, because I'm not in the country, I don't have proper control, direct control over the people here. I do not know what they do. Most of the time, I do not know what they do. Well, let me tell you, you are an auditor. You see a weakness there. I do not know my employees what they are doing. For example, when you take us per day, we receive about 200 messages on WhatsApp. Inchifa, do you message us on WhatsApp? Abdullah, Afzal, Saifullah, Tamil Nila. Saifullah, I thought you're not coming today. You message us on WhatsApp. Okay, now let's try to evaluate. Okay, Afzal, okay. Afzal, Abdullah, Inchifa, okay, when you message PPIM on WhatsApp, how sooner do they get back to you? How quicker do they get back to you? Or do they get back to you or they don't get back to you? They do get back to you or they don't get back to you? They do. Inchifa says they do. Weekdays fast, but weekends little delay, but they get back soon. Okay, that's a very valid point, Abdullah. Weekdays fast, weekends a bit slow. Very valid, very valid. Okay. Within the day, they'll get back to us, says Afzal. Okay. Now, correct, Abdullah, correct. But do you see, even if I'm not in the country, okay, there is a team responding, right? So that means their job to a certain extent, yes, there can be some delays, but they do get back to you. Yeah, weekends, I'll tell you, per day we get about 400 messages. 400 messages means it's not just one message. 400 in the morning you wake up, there'll be 400 messages. We respond, they respond back, we respond, they respond back. So you're talking about 1100 messages we handle per day, handled by about 4 people. So there can be delays because every message is a problem, right? A student has a problem, right? Without a problem, student will not come to us. Now just imagine a situation, they don't reply you within a day, they take a week. Then yes, our control system is very weak. If they take a week or 2 weeks, our control system is very weak. Yeah, most of the time they are on time because the deadline given to respond to our students when we say is 1 day. We have to respond within a day. Within 24 hours, students has to be satisfied. But it's very, very, very difficult. It is very challenging. But to a major extent, we try. But if they don't, that means me as an individual, as a CEO here, my job responsibility, there is a problem. But I'm not in the country. How do I monitor it? How do I monitor it? If there are 4 people, I can't go to all these 4 people, right? It's very difficult for me to go to all these 4 people. For me, it's tough to go to these 4 people and check their jobs. No, I don't do that. I have appointed one person. That person's job role is to check if the WhatsApp messages are going on time or not. So I have one person communicating to me. Okay, that person's job is, okay, there are 1000 messages are responded within 1 or 2 days or not. That's the responsibility. So basically, my payroll cost will go up, but my customer satisfaction is high. So I will have more customers coming in. So from a management's point of view, we need to make sure we fill the gaps. So controls have to be strong. Okay, probably let's say my 4 members, team members for WhatsApp, they are not responding. My A, who's the person in charge, will come to me and say, Ziyan, look, there's a problem. Now then I will make my payroll, my employees recruitment even better. I'll make it more stronger. I'll find ways to change it. That's how management will bring in controls. So controls are implemented. Now this particular person who I have to check if the work is being done or not is a control. So controls can be fingerprints to control something from happening, a security. So controls can change from company to company. Are we clear? Okay. Now we need to make sure there is a way from a company's perspective to have a time capturing machine. For example, if you come into PPIM, all staffs when they come in, they have to keep the fingerprints. We have fingerprint system here. Very importantly. But well, okay, fingerprints. Sometimes you can have cards. Some companies have cards, check-in cards. Some registry. So then there's a problem. Registry means from one person to another person can sign on behalf of you. Now, if you have an in and out registry, I can sign on behalf of my friend, correct? Card also same problem, correct, Abdullah? Card also same problem. Even fingerprint also there was a problem. Okay, this is what happens when you try to be smart. Now, basically what happened was, I started to lecture when I was 17 years old. My lecturing career started when I was 17. In fact, I was 17, 18, I started to lecture. So when I lectured, I initially started lecturing at Mercury. There was an institute called Mercury. Now it's not there anymore. They closed down. There was a financial fraud and they closed down. So during that time, I was lecturing for Mercury. And I was working for a UK-based company as well. Now, the beauty of it is, Mercury is in Kolpidi. The UK-based company that I was talking about as an accounts manager I was working, that was opposite Mercury in Kolpidi. When I say opposite Mercury, not right opposite Mercury, about 50, 100 meters away from Mercury. Now there was a problem. The accounts company, the UK outsource company that I was working for, I have to directly report to the UK. So my colleague, whoever is working with me, will not bother if I am at office or not, because for him, he also reports to the UK. I report to the UK. Now, while I was working, I was teaching weekends, Saturday, Sunday. I was working during the weekdays, but they had a fingerprint system. Fingerprint system reliable or not reliable, everyone? Reliable or not reliable, everyone? Fingerprint system reliable or not reliable? There you go. Saiful, I thought you're not coming. Well done, Terza. There you go. Reliable with CCTV in operation. You know what happened? Some of the lecturers from Mercury left, and I had to immediately come and take up their slots halfway through a session. I think audit, I was lecturing. Halfway through the session, I have to take up. So what I used to do is, in the morning, I go to my workplace, keep my fingerprint, check in, and then I go to Mercury and lecture. Lecture until 12:30 and then come back and start working. I did it for 3 months without getting caught. Fourth month, my manager identified there was something missing because I'm not at office. Whenever she sends me email, I don't respond immediately. It was busted, caught, red-handed. She had called Mercury directly asking for me. And you know what she did? Like Teresa said, she put a camera so that she can monitor from here in the UK. So we might think it is reliable. Fraud me things, I had an incentive pressure and I loved lecturing. That was the reason. I was not trying to fraud there. Whatever the 4 hours that I wish, I used to work late night. I was not doing a fraud. Yeah, but you know, lecturing, I like to lecture. So that's the reason why I did it. But at a very young age, that was. But yes, of course, what I did was wrong. I mean, you shouldn't be doing things like that. But you understand. You need to have controls, but you have to have reliable controls, like how Terza said. So from that point onwards, the moment CCTV came, I left the job, I started lecturing full time. So coming back, time capturing. Availability of reliable time capturing methods such as electronic swipe cards, fingerprint system, or attendance register. Well, I'm not too happy with this and this. Probably yes, this with CCTV camera. Review of time captured by an authorized person. Okay, somebody has to see, okay, this is the time captured this guy has coming. Head count and comparison against the attendance rates. Prior approval for working overtime hours. That's very important. Approval of leave sheets for absentees. If there is someone who is absent, there should be a procedure, a sheet procedure. Then master data. List of your employees in a data sheet. Your master data, restriction over access to the master data should be authorized personnel on which the approval of authorized personnel. So you can't give it to everyone. It has to be strictly within some people. Pre-approval for changes to the standard data. If you're going to make a change to the standard data, there has to be a pre-approval. You have to go to the payroll manager, payroll director, ask them for approval. Periodical review of system generated reports on changes made to master data to see if the master data and the system generated report are being reflected or not. Segregation of duties between persons maintaining master data, processing or recording the payroll transaction. There has to be segregation. Periodical checks by independent person between master data, wage records and personal files. Periodic reports to identify unauthorized changes to master data. If there are any unauthorized changes, there has to be reports which shows that there are changes to master data. Actually, to be very honest, have you used our LMS system? PPIM's LMS system? I'm sure everybody is using it. This is our LMS system, right? So you come to ppim.edu.lk, right? Come here. So let's say courses, ACCA. Look at this review. He has given a 1-star review. The quality of teaching is very good, he says. Did you guys see that? Very funny. ACCA PPIM. He's given a 1-star review. But he says the quality of lecturing is very good. There you go. Krishna Raj Kande. The quality of teaching is really very high. All the lecture panel is extraordinary. Solid teaching will lead you to the greatest research through ACCA. But 1-star. Okay. Anyway, that's fine. Let's come back. Now we come here. We come to skills level. Let's say live online. No, not live online. I'm sorry. It is recorded classes, right? The moment we choose recorded classes, right? Now we have. Okay. How do I log into this? How do I log in? Actually, guys, there is an offer going on. It's 6,900 for the entire skills level, Farin and myself. Still, you have about 10 days, 10 to 12 days. If you think you want any areas that you want to improve, please go purchase it. It's a very good price, 6,900. The entire syllabus is covered. Entire syllabus, 100%. If you're going wrong in any areas, you can also work around it. What did I want to show you? I wanted to show you something. Wait. How do I log into this? Contact us. Where's the login page? Can't I log in? I wanted to show you Premier Plus login, is it? Okay. Thanks, Abdullah. You know the system better. Now when you take this, okay? Now probably you take this. You come here. You know, we've got classes, right? All over, we've got classes happening, right? Now for this we have a system. And so how many classes are we running? This amount of classes we are running. Okay, super. So we have a system, and anybody making a change into the system will directly send me an email. I'll get directly an email. Guys, there are some mock exams also, right? I think it comes free if you're registered, but if you're registered, just get this because it covers a lot of questions. Anybody who have tried it? Oh, okay, super, thanks. So, you know, what I'm trying to say here is everything, a change here will directly let me know there's been a change. This particular person has been doing the change. So even in terms of payroll, we need to make sure that, you know, the payroll is structured in a way where any unauthorized changes are directly captured. There's nothing, there is no excuse there. So periodic reports to identify unauthorized changes in the master data. This is for payroll, but they are in terms of our LMS software I'm talking about. Even payroll, PPIM's payroll system, we've made sure that any changes immediately comes an email to me. So that's how it has to be. And then when processing payroll, preparation of payroll by staff not connected to duties such as recruitment, grants, or increments. So you got to make sure that not when you're processing payroll, people who are not connected to the payroll are chosen. Preparation of monthly payroll reconciliation and reviewed by authorized person. Payroll reconciliation with the payment made to transfers to the number of staffs available. You need to do a reconciliation. Approval of payroll by a senior officer. Before the payment goes in, you need to get the approval by a senior officer. Payment to employees. Direct bank deposits only. Direct bank deposits because you have proof that you've made the payment. Cash means it's a bit of a problem. Acknowledgement for receipt of salaries or wages. There has to be an acknowledgement, assigned a slip or something like that. Restrictions on payments of unclaimed wages and salaries on a date subsequent to the normal payment date. Now when you take PPIM, we pay on the 25th probably. Guys, I'm taking PPIM because I'm very familiar with the systems, okay? So it's easier for me to tell me. We pay on the 25th. Now let's say it's a cash payment and on 25th my employees were not paid, they didn't take the cash. That means I I can't make it a point where anybody can make the payment. No. If it's me, I'll give a date. Okay, next week, this date, you have to come and take the payment. So if there are any unclaimed wages due to any unavoidable circumstances, that has to be properly handled. Periodic check by the internal audit in relation to the payroll process. Authorized person to maintain unclaimed wages. Okay, internal audit has to periodically check. Okay, what is happening in terms of the payroll process? Is there any changes that we have to do to make sure that the process is smooth? Guys, these are the controls, these are the objectives. Please go through this again, and then we will directly do a question from the past paper, a detailed question. Go through and give me that. So can you send all the tunes, I mean the internal control system notes, please? That is my notes. You want my notes? My notes should be there, no? My notes should be there in the this thing. What's that? In the LMS. Guys, something like this is solid in the exam. You might get something like this. Trombone. Something like this is definitely a solid question in the exam. Shall we see how to do it? Something like this. Trombone. Okay. It's a very detailed question, interesting question. I'll take you through the question. But you see here, your examiner says identify identify and explain five deficiencies. You have to identify and explain two things. Pick and explain. Recommend a control. You are going to bring in a control. So identification, control. Now two things. In the exam, you will have identification, you have control. But not just that. Describe a test of control. Three things, three areas of examiner's favorite area. Identify from the scenario. Explain why it is a problem. Recommend a control. You bring in a control. You have to think of a control. And then the control that you bring in, if you are an auditor, how will they test the control? Test of internal control system. Don't worry, I'll exactly take you through this question because this question is a very examinable question. But before that, what I want you to do is I want you to pick your five control deficiencies. Pick your five control deficiencies. I'm giving you about 10 minutes. Pick your five control deficiencies and let me know. Five control deficiencies. Pick it and just let me know. Give me a date. I'll be back in 10 minutes. I want you to pick, okay? I'll be back in not 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I'm going to pray and come. Okay, I've got some answers from Inchifa. Others. Can I get answers? Can I get answers? Everyone? Answers. Everyone? Guys, I will keep it very, very simple. I'm going to keep it very, very efficient, and I'm going to tell you how to answer in your real ACCA exam. Okay? Right. Simple. Right? Let's not worry too much. Terza, superb. You give me some answers. Now, let's go to the requirement. Always the requirement, right? Requirement says identify and explain. Identification comes from the scenario. Explanation has to come from you. Recommend a control to address the weakness. For example, let me give you an example. Let's say in PPIM, let's take PPIM, an easy example. PPIM, staffs are working overtime. The problem is overtime is not approved. It's not approved. That's a problem. OT not approved. If overtime is not approved, what will this result in? Now the problem is overtime is not approved. If overtime is not approved, what will it result in? What is the result? What is the result of overtime not being approved? What is the result? What would it result in? Overtime not approved. If overtime is not approved, what will it result in? Payroll cost can increase. Well done, Inchifa. Because of overtime not approved, payroll cost can go up. Why? Because unauthorized OT. People are working without having a job. That is a problem. Now, your examiner will say, overtime is not approved means you're going to say, hey, look, because of that, your payroll cost can increase. That is an explanation to the problem. Paying staff to overtime who have actually not worked. Okay, Nabil. Brilliant. So that is a problem. For this problem, you're given an explanation. I'm happy with the explanation. Stop there. What is the control that you can implement? What is the solution for it? What is the solution for it? Give me a solution. A solution is the control that we are talking in the exam. A solution to this problem can be, number one, overtime is authorized. Overtime is authorized by a manager when work is required through an email or through a signature. Through an email, through a signature. So that is a control. Only when the manager approves it, sends an email, hey, look, you have to work overtime. This particular person's staff works. That is a control. You're having a control. Now, when you look at this question, here, you have to explain the problem, identify and explain the problem. You need to recommend a control. That is the control that I'm talking about now. Number 3, describe a test of control. We and Co should be the audit firm. Test of control is testing if the control is working efficiently or not. Who does the test of control? The auditor is going to do the test of. So here, describe a test of control, meaning you are the auditor. You are going to check if the overtime approval control, the control that you put, is working or not. Understand that students get confused there. Deficiency is the problem. Control is the solution to the problem. Test of control is this solution, how to check if it is working properly or not. Meaning there is authorization of emails, there is signatures, The auditor will go and check. I will go and check if the emails have been sent, for example, of people working overtime, if they have actually got the approval or not. That is a test of control. So, problem, recommendation, test of control. 3. In the exam, normally when it comes to test of control, I normally go ahead. I use the words. I would recommend you to use inspection. You can inspect overtime record sheets. You can do an inquiry. You can do an observation. You can do a recalculation. You can do a reperform. These are the procedures. You can play around with these procedures. Okay. So you are here in the exam. What's basically going to happen? It's going to look like this. So what happened? Trombone. So basically, I have a deficiency. I will have a control. I will have a test of control. I'll have three things. In the exam, how many should I give? There you go. In the exam, I'm supposed to give 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to identify the deficiency. For a deficiency, I'm going to give a control. For the control, I'm going to give a test of control. Okay, let's start. Trombone operates a chain of hotels. Trombone operates a chain of hotels across the country. Trombone employs in excess of 250 permanent employees, and its year end is 31st August 2014. You are the audit supervisor. You are the audit supervisor. Now look at the role that your examiner is giving you. He's giving you a bigger role to play. You are an audit supervisor, so you have to think like an audit supervisor of V and Co. and are currently reviewing the documentation of Trombone payroll system. Detail below in preparation for the interim audit. Detail below for the interim audit. Interim audit means, guys, during the year there has been an audit taking place. So interim audit is done during the year. Final audit is done after the year. Interim audit is done during the current year. Final audit is done after the year. Okay, super. Now, Trombone's payroll system. Now they are talking to you about the payroll system. Okay, now this is the introduction your examiner is giving. Permanent employees work a standard number of hours per week as specified in their employment contract. So for a week, maybe 40 hours in the employment contract, that is what you have to give me. So meaning for a month, 160 hours. However, when the hotels are busy, staff can be requested by management to work additional hours. From 40, additionally work 10 hours, 15 hours as overtime. This can either be paid on a monthly basis or taken as days off. So you can get paid for the work that you do extra on a monthly basis, or let's say you work 8 hours you can take 8 hours off. It can be added to your annual leaves. You have two choices. Number one, first choice, you can be paid. Second choice, it can be added to your leaves. Are we clear? Are we clear? Are we clear? Hold on. Okay, super. Employees record any overtime worked. Employees are recording their overtime work. Okay, 40 hours is my normal working hours. Plus, I'm working 5 hours extra. I put 5 hours. And days taken off on a weekly overtime sheet. Okay, there is an overtime sheet. Okay, my 5 hours extra. So, this is my additional hours that I took as off days, which are sent to the payroll department. Okay, it is sent to the payroll department. Okay, now this is not just kept like that. It goes to the payroll department. Are we clear? The standard hours per employee are automatically set up in the system. You have a system, standard 8 hours per day or 40 hours per week is set up in the system. And the overtime sheets are entered by clerks into the payroll package. Now, whatever the sheet that they get, the clerk enters into the payroll package, which automatically calculates the gross and net pay. So, you have a system, the system calculates the gross and net pay automatically, along with the relevant deductions, whatever the contributions that you're making. These calculations are not checked at all. Wages are increased by the rate of inflation every year, 2% or 3% based on inflation. And clerks are responsible for updating the standing data in the payroll system. From here to here, do you have any problems? Afzal, Abdullah, Inshifa, Nabil, Terza, Saifullah, any problems? First issue. But someone has sent me a Google link. Nabil says no issues. Inshifa says payroll is calculated but not checked. Brilliant. There you go. The calculations that you are doing here, after entering, is not checked at all. Sorry guys, I ordered food. I have taken it to the wrong location. Okay. The gross and net pay are manually not checked. Payroll calculated, not checked. There you go. Payroll calculations are not checked. That's a problem. You can identify it from here. You can identify it from here because the system is generating the payroll, but this is not checked by anyone. What is the problem as a result? Now, see how I'm going to write my answers. Okay. Now, I want you to observe this so that you're very confident in the exam. The system generates the payroll of the staff after clerks record it. Correct? No? That is what is happening. No? Clerks are recording it and the system is generating the payroll. Correct? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. Now, this is the problem. What is happening because of this problem? What is this problem causing? Because of that, what can happen? Because of this problem, what can happen? That is the explanation. Now, you have identified the problem only. You have not given the impact of the problem. What is the impact of the problem? So, this is not checked by anyone. What is the impact of the problem? System error cannot be identified, can be overpaid or underpaid for genuine employees. Okay, if there is a system crash, a system problem, any technical issues with the system may result in incorrect payments to the staffs. Correct? Because you are not checking it. Any technical issues with the payroll system, can result in incorrect payments to employees. Guys, now try to understand the problem. And if I'm explaining the problem, I'm just here. Identify and explain 5 deficiencies. I've identified and I've explained. That's it. This explanation should be there for you to get 1 mark here. You can identify from the scenario, but explanation is your own words, from your own words. Why this is a problem? Are we clear? Recommend a control. Now, you're going to tell the examiner, hey, look, this is the control I can bring in to make sure this problem will not happen in the future. Now, tell me a control. Think of a control. What can be an ideal control? A control can be the system is generating. There are 250 employees. No, a control can be out of that 250. You take a sample, 10%, 25 employees. The payment is calculated no by the system. A manager, a payroll manager should review it to check if this is correct or not. System has generated, that has to be reviewed. Are we clear? So a senior member from the payroll department must take a sample of payroll calculations and recalculate to confirm the output from the system for accuracy. Now guys, always remember. Okay, Inchipa, brilliant answer. You come and tell me, Inchipa, a member of the payroll department recalculates the gross and to net pay from a sample of employees to confirm whether it's correct or not. I'm impressed. But that answer is not fulfilled if you don't give a test of control. You need to give a test of control. A test of control is something connected to the control. How are you going to go and test if the senior member undertook this task? You can only test if the senior member undertook this task. This sample of payroll calculations done has to be signed by this member. Further, the member from the payroll department must sign on the sample calculated. It can be a signature. It can be an email confirmation to the payroll manager, payroll director saying, look, this sample has been calculated. And based on this, I see there are no errors. Meaning you do the sample for 10%, 25, maybe the 250 is correct. But if you find a problem, that means you can go back and check if the system has an error or not. Now, test of control is you, why runner? You are the audit senior. You are coming to check if this control which is being implemented is happening or not. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to confirm? Now, you know this sample of the calculation done by the payroll manager is there. No? You are going to go and take the sample and check a signature is placed or not. In other words, what are you trying to do? You are trying to inspect the payroll records, the sample of payroll records. So inspection, recalculation, like I told you earlier, recalculation, re-performance, inquiry, all those will come into play. So here what you would say is, I will inspect a sample of calculation done by the payroll member to confirm the signature is placed after the recalculation for accuracy. Guys, just read that. Did I keep it simple? Did you understand this? Guys, I just want you to tell me, okay, Ziyan, I understood this, or no, I have a confusion somewhere. Just tell me that. Go through slowly. Go through and tell me. Do you understand, everybody? Everyone. Take your time. Others understood, yes or no? Everyone. Okay. Now I can tell you openly, guys, this is not a this is definitely not an answer you would see in Kaplan. Kaplan is very detailed. You don't have to be detailed like that. Just go to the point. Answer to the point, that's more than enough. Are we clear? Okay. What is the second problem that you have? The second problem that we have is, somebody said, okay, now these calculations are not checked at all. We are here. Wages are increased by the rate of inflation each year, and clerks are responsible for updating the standing data in the payroll system. Now, clerks are updating the data in the payroll system. Now, obviously, changes to the payroll system is made by the clerks, right? Number one, are they senior enough? Clerks to make changes, are they senior enough? No, in Shifa Thursday, no. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is, I want you to generate the deficiency. I want you to come up with a control. I want you to give a test of control. All seven here. All seven. Everybody do it. Everybody do it. And guys who are watching on YouTube or recorded video, stop here. Generate it. And let's see if you're getting it right. 3 marks no in total. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 marks no. I'll give you about 5 minutes. 3 marks, 5 minutes. Do it on your. Let's see. Okay, I've got answers from Inshifa. I've got response from Afzal, but not everything. Inshifa has given me, but others you're still stuck for time, I believe. See, that can't happen in the exam. That can't happen in the exam. In exam, you have to be quick to generate your responses, your deficiencies. Now, for example, there you go. We know the problem is changes is not done by a senior staff. Okay, wages are increased by this Abdullah. Okay, good. But guys, you understand this can be a copy paste. Okay, in the exam, this particular thing, wages are increased by the rate of inflation each year, and clerks are responsible updating can be a copy paste in the exam. That's okay. But you got to explain that. Okay. So changes to payroll system is done by the clerks. Okay, clerks are not senior enough to make changes to payroll system. What can happen as a result? What can happen when they are making changes? It can lead to duplication. It can lead to duplication or omission. There can be duplication or loss of data. This can lead to duplication or loss of data. Guys, now probably this may not have a big impact on our payments, right? This can have an impact on the data probably. So you have to be able to relate it, connect it. Are we clear? Okay. Now, first and foremost, clerks at a junior level cannot be given access to the data, payroll data. So that you need to keep that in mind. So very important, clerks must not be given access to the payroll system. First and foremost, that's this thing. Who should do the changes? Any changes to the payroll system must be made by a senior member of the payroll department. Now you're given a control, right? Now you're given a control. A senior member is going to do it. But how are you going to connect it to the test of control? That's where I come in. There can be few ways to do it, right? Now if you have a payroll system can give you a log of people who have edited. A payroll system can give a log of people who have edited the system. That also will say who has edited it. Or it can be clerks must not be given access to the payroll system. Any changes to the payroll system must be made by the senior member of the payroll department. But that doing has to be approved by the managers. Approved by the payroll manager. Now the thing is, how do I test if this control is working or not? How do I test if this system control is working on? There are a few things that I can do. Here the clerk should not be given access. No, I can take clerk's credential, try to log into the data, trying to log into the system. It has to deny. That is number one. Number two, I can take the log of people who have made the changes and I can see who made the changes. So there are two things. I will try to log in through the clerk's credentials to verify if the login access is denied. Further, I will review the list of logins logins to the system to verify the members who made changes to the system. Guys, do you understand? Guys, do you understand? Yes or no? Guys, are we clear? Yes or no? Are we clear? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. Same way. Same way. Let's go further. Employees are paid on a monthly basis by a bank transfer, which is good for their contracted weekly hours and for any overtime worked in the previous month. So for previous month that you worked, you're going to be paid this month. If employees choose to be paid for overtime, authorization is required by the department heads for any overtime in excess of 30% of standard hours. If employees choose instead to take day off, the payroll clerk should check back to the overtime work report. However, this report is not always checked. Guys, today I'm bringing you the world prize winner for audit paper. The world prize winner for the September exams. So recently only she did the paper, she became the world prize winner. I'm bringing her to you. She'll be talking to you in a bit. Okay, she'll be talking to you. She's on the way. She's going to address you. She's going to tell you what to do, what not to do for your December exams. A world prize winner is way better than me. You understand? They're very sharp. They know what to do in the exam conditions. So please make sure that all of you are there when she's joining in. In about 10 to 15 minutes, she'll be here. Tips and tricks by a world prize winner. Don't miss that. Please make sure it is there. We are not going to record it and give it to everyone. Make sure you're there. That's the plan. Yeah. So she'll be here. But coming back here in this particular area, what are the problems that we have here? What are the problems that we have? Do we have any problems? Do we have any problems here? Do we have any problems? Any problems? 30% not all approved. 30% is only approved. Okay, now I want you to type the deficiency. I want you to type the control. I want you to give me the test of control. Deficiency, control, test of control. Actually, there are two here. There are two deficiencies here. I want you to take about 10 minutes. Do the 10. Do the two problems that you see there. Do it. Do it. Do it. Done, 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 done. Quick, 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 quick. Keep it very simple, right? Keep it very simple, right? Don't try to confuse yourself. Keep it very, very simple. Oops. Was it already on? Wrap mode. Okay, there you go. So, OT in excess of 30%, OT in excess of 30% of standard hours are only authorized. So what will happen as a result? As a result, what will happen? Employees can claim OT up to 30%. Employees can claim OT up to 30% without working. They can just say 30% and they can claim OT. Correct. So employees can claim OT up to 30%, without actually working. As a result, what will happen? As a result, this will lead to higher payroll. Are you clear? Oh, I've got a good response. Abdullah, the overtime. Abdullah looks fine. Abdullah looks fine. Vinoli, good timing. We've got a world prize winner coming and talking to you for audit in a bit. She's already here. Okay. Now, what would be a control there? All overtime. You take all overtime to be worked, must be to be worked by employees, must be approved, authorized through an email, probably through an email, so that only employees with authorization work, not just 30%. Everyone should be confirmed through an email. Are we clear? So who does it? The department heads does it with authorized work. All OT to be worked by employees must be approved by the department heads through an email so that they can work. Now, why am I giving it? I'm gonna connect my email to my test of control, because I'm the auditor. I'm gonna go and check if this has happened or not. So that's my job. So I'm gonna say review a sample of OT approved and confirm OT approved OT what is that? OT sheets, right? Not IT. OT overtime work sheets. And confirm if the department heads have sent a confirmation email with approval for these employees. Are we clear? So review a sample of OT worksheets and confirm if the department heads have sent a confirmation email with approval for these employees, so that we know with the approval of the department heads only the work was undertaken. Okay. Number 3. Number 4 here. What is number 4? What is number 4? The overtime work report, which details any overtime recorded by the employees, is run by the payroll department weekly. an email to department heads for authorization. The payroll department asks the department heads to only report if there are any errors recorded. Department heads are required to arrange for overtime sheets to be authorized by an alternately responsible official if they are away on annual leaves. However, there are instances where this arrangement has not occurred. Okay, we have a problem there. What's the next problem? What's the problem? Any problem there? So you missed out the employees choosing overtime. Employees choose. Oh, yeah, this one. If employees choose instead to take days off, the payroll clerk should check back to the overtime work report. However, this report is not checked. That's another problem. Sorry, I missed it. So now let's say if your employee, they're choosing not to take money, instead they're taking day off. Then what happens is the payroll clerk should go and check back the overtime work report if they actually worked or not. But this report is not checked. That's another problem, obviously, right? So number 4, if employees choose to take days off instead, they choose to take days off instead rather than claiming for money, right? So the payroll clerks must check the overtime worked report, but this is not checked. As a result, what can happen? Employees can be taking days off for overtime not worked. As a result, employees can be taking days off for overtime not worked. Guys, productivity reduced, yeah, but do you understand this? Are you clear? Are we clear? Now the payroll clerk is not checking. Now what the payroll clerk should do is they have to check and they have to confirm that these guys did really work before giving them days off. The payroll clerk must always ensure that all overtime worked reports are checked and confirm that these hours are actually worked. Once this is done, a signature must be or email or whatever. A signature must be placed to confirm this was done, undertaken. Are we clear? Are we clear? Are we clear? Now, how are you going to confirm this? 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 Yeah. Review a sample of emails. Well, to emails. No. Emails. You have to connect that to the control. Review a sample of overtime sheets. Brilliant. Overtime work reports to confirm that the signature is placed. Well done, Terza. Well done, Inshifa. Not emails, Afzal. Review a sample of OT worked reports and confirm a signature is placed to ensure the payroll clerk actually reviewed the report. There you go. Number 4 done. Number 5, that's going to be my last one, and then I'm going to bring you the world prize winner to talk to you. Okay, she's here. Okay, here we already identified it. The payroll department asks the department heads to only report if there are any errors recorded. Now, what if they miss the emails? What if they don't see the emails? So then what will happen? You'll just confirm the OT and the payment will go off. So the department heads, the payroll department, asks the department heads to only report if there are any errors in the OT sheets. Now let's say, for example, an email is not delivered or there's a problem with the system, then you do not know. No. So payment would obviously automatically be approved. If an email is not delivered, or if the department heads misses out to respond, the assumption is that the overtime hours are accurate. As a result, unauthorized OT can be paid, leading to higher payroll. There you go. Guys, do you see the problem? Do you see the problem? What could be a control? What can be a control? Without a confirmation by the payroll or department head on the email, a response, a reply, you shouldn't authorize OT. All emails sent by the payroll department should be responded back by the department heads. There you go. All emails sent by the payroll department must be responded by the department heads, confirming if the payment is good to go or not. For responses not received, if you not received a response, OT must not be processed. You can't process. Why? Because you have not got a confirmation. Until confirmation is received from the department head. Are we clear? Are we clear? Are we clear? What could be a test of control? 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 Make it simple, make it easy. Make it simple, make it easy. Select a sample of emails sent by the payroll department and check whether it is being responded by the department heads. Okay. Or what you can do is, for a sample of overtime work reports, email to the department head, confirm the response has been received by the head, reviewing all responses. Sales are good, in-shift are good, we are good, we are good, we are good. Good. So for a sample of OT worked reports, confirm if department heads have responded for the email, confirming the OT worked. There you go. There you go. That's good enough for your marks in the exam. Okay, I'm going to give you about 5 minutes until I bring Mariam here. Obviously, you don't have to tell you she's a world class winner, to guide you about your exam preparations. Okay, until that, please review this. Give about few minutes, she'll be here.